produce? What is your idea?
It's a good question. Thank you. I was fortunate at the very beginning of my career. Actually, the last two summers at the university, and the first year out, 3 years, I worked at a summer theater, and there was a program called the National Playwrights Conference. And in this conference, they selected new plays, and I was part of a ensemble acting company who would act in these new plays. And I learned very quickly that the whole focus was on the material, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of the skeleton. And the material is the most important thing. Many actors can play the parts, but it's how good the material is. So I think that always stuck with me. And as we were rehearsing on those summer plays and always working on how to improve the play, we were thinking about the actor's performance, but the play, it was very important to me. Then the first job I really had in the business was a television series called The Streets of San Francisco, which I don't know if it was in India or not, but it was around the world. It's a very, very popular show. And I did 104 hours, 4 years of that show. Again, focus on a prologue, three acts, and an epilogue. And again, much more involved in the structure. So very early in my career, and then with the success of Cuckoo's Nest, which was my first picture, material for me became the most important. I don't care what it is, but if it's something that that emotionally moves me, and it's structurally, and structure for me, a three-act structure is very important, and then that's what I count on. So if I'm haunted by it, whether it makes me laugh or cry or sexy or not, but I'm haunted by it, and then I analyze it and I see the structure. And so I think that's why I've been fairly successful over the years trying to stick with good material. Yeah. So I didn't worry about my part so much because I'd much rather be have a small part in a good movie than a big part in a bad movie.
Hello, sir. Hi, this is Harshida here from Screen Graphia. So I just want to know you and ma'am had been to various film festivals across the world. So what's your observation about the Indian cinema as such?
The future or the
No, observation, like what do you see like around the festival? What is that people talk about the Hindi film industry or maybe the pan India cinema?
well, as I mentioned, I do think that under Minister Thakur, as well as Prime Minister Modi, the last few years you've seen more uh, money put into the production and financing of films. And it's been a very successful time. I also think there's more and more, and I think sort of the spirit of this festival and the beauty of this festival is you had 78 foreign countries represented. And it's only a reflection of the strength of your Indian filming, which is renowned and known around the world. So I think you're in very, very good hands. I think it's beginning to even, with all of the success here in India, it's traveling more and more. And streaming is playing a very important part. I think for all of us, as we're seeing movies from different countries. And for me, this is the magic and the beauty and the joy of why I love this business so much is the international connections. I mean, with all the different languages we speak, movies share the same language. Audiences from wherever you are in the world can understand what's going on. Movies bring us closer together, and I think that's a very important aspect of it.
Sir, I am, sir, here I am.
Sorry.
I am Shiladitya Sen from Calcutta. Uh, you have the experience of your first popular film made by Robert Zemeckis. You are, sir, actor, director, producer. Huh? So, how you consider as a director Robert Zemeckis? Because he is a very good director. I just want to know about your
Right.
experience or how do you like?
Well, Robert Zemeckis, when we were trying to get the director for Romancing the Stone, and Robert Zemeckis was 28 years old, and he had been supported by Steven Spielberg because they both went to USC
Absolutely, absolutely.
Film School. And Robert Zemeckis had made two movies, uh, Used Cars and I Want to Hold Your Hand, both which had been flops. And they'd been produced by Steven Spielberg. So Robert Zemeckis, when I met him at 27 years old, was history. His career was over. He was a good writer and this and that. But I knew he had, just from seeing those movies, he had a great tone and good filmmaking. So it was a wonderful opportunity, and he was excited. And his that was the movie Romancing the Stone that started Robert Zemeckis off on his successful career. And he's a lovely man and a good friend.
And one question to Madam. Can you tell about Steven Spielberg, because you acted in a very interesting role in Terminal?
Yeah, it was Stephen. Yeah, I was. Well, actually, there's a story that precedes that. In that, when I first went to America to give it a go in American movies, I was cast in a television series about the Titanic, the ship, not the movie with Kate, with Leo or Kate, the TV series. You know, even though we got some great actors, George C. Scott and Ava Marie Saint, and it was great actor. It was a television for CBS, 2 hour, two nights. And so I thought, well, I got to start somewhere. Yeah, I'm going to do that. And one Sunday night, Steven Spielberg was at home watching TV. He was watching me in Titanic, and he called on Monday morning my agent and said I want her to audition for Zorro. And so he said, yeah. So I went to meet him on the set of Jurassic Park 2, which that would have been enough for me. You know, I would have just gone home. So I met him, which was amazing. And then he sent me down for a screen test with some other actresses, introduced me to the director. I got the role, which my husband saw.
Hi, boy.
And then asked to meet me. Here we are with our son, and all that story. But to be directed by Stephen, of course, is was very, very exciting. It was one of my dreams, and to be working with Tom Hanks. And again, you know, it's like, for me, it's like actors. Sometimes the better they are, the easier they are. And he works with the same cinematographer, and so a lot of the people are all the same. So the environment is very family-like, and it was a wonderful experience. One would think that you step on a film set with Steven Spielberg, you'd be like this, and he created an environment in which it was very, very, very nice to and easy to work with. But
Mr. Michael, just a couple of questions here behind. My name is Sachin. First question would be reflecting back on your long and successful career as an actor, as a film producer. How easy or how difficult was it to step out of the shadows of your father, Mr. Kirk Douglas, who was a legend in his own right? So, how easy and difficult it was for you to step out of his shadow? And the second question would be right from Gordon Gekko, for which you won an Oscar in Wall Street, to the modern day generation who knows you as Dr. Hank Pym in the Marvel movies. Which are your most favorite or challenging characters that you played? Favorite or challenging?
Um, Stepping out of my father's shadow took a long time, at least for me personally. And it was sort of interesting. We sort of had similar careers, and that his beginning of his career, he was playing the sensitive young man, and it didn't really work until maybe his sixth or seventh movie was a movie called Champion in 1950, which he was nominated for an Academy Award. He played a nasty fighter, and then that dark side, that nasty side of him, sort of changed his whole direction and perspective of working. And similarly, for me, in an earlier part of my career, um, I was playing more softer kind of roles. But you always have the situation where you're acting and someone's, oh, it's just like your father. Oh, that's very well. He's 50% of who I am, so I'm sure I have expressions. Oh, that's just like him. So there was always that element and quality. And I must say that when I won the Oscar for Wall Street, I was very excited. But that was the moment when I felt like the Oscar, you were nominated for an Oscar by your acting peers in the Academy. So when I got the nomination for my fellow actors, like, whoa, it had nothing to do with my father. It was a nomination for me. that was a tremendous, tremendous moment. And the fact that I won, uh, like I couldn't believe. And my son Dylan is a young actor. Our daughter Carison. So I've shared with them, the pressures of what it's like to have your father famous and dealing with that. And Dylan rightfully reminds me, it's not like that anymore, Dad. I said, why? Wait, what's different? Social media. I said, you didn't have social media over your back. And I said, you know what? You're right. It's a big difference. So that was the pine. I must say that my father's always very supportive to me, and I think enjoyed the fact. I mean, people used to ask my father, "Are you jealous of your son? Are you jealous of his success?" And he would look at them. What are you talking about? This is it's a continuity of generations. It's a sense of immortality that you can see going from one generation to the other. So that made a big difference.
Hello,
Uh,
Mr. Douglas. This is
my second question, the second part, the second part of the
sir.
question, I think was the difference between the pictures, the ones that I like. Is a movie called Falling Down. I don't know if you ever seen Falling Down. I like that. I like that picture a lot. There's a picture I did called Wonder Boys that a lot of people saw, which I think you'll enjoy. But I guess I'm generally happy following the scenario which I said about material. That I've had a number of successful movies, not home runs. What's the equivalent in cricket of a home run?
Yeah, like six. At the
Six. All right.
stadium, yeah.
Maybe some fours, twos, but pretty good average as a batter, pretty good average. And so I think that's probably what I'm most proud about.
Super.
No, I
That's
met
not
I met
true.
Catherine. No, I met Catherine at the Deauville Film Festival. I had just seen I had just seen Zorro. Easy, easy. I just had seen Zorro actually in the States. I said, who is that? And then I went over to this festival in Deauville. I was promoting a perfect murder. It's a movie called A Perfect Murder with Viggo Mortensen, and uh, and I looked at the schedule and I saw that the next night Catherine was going to be there for Zorro. Yeah, you'd be there for Zorro, but she was in the middle of making Entrapment and was going to be there for Zorro. And I said, well, find out if I can meet her, maybe have a drink and say hello. The rest is history.
Sir, this is Swati Bhatt from the Communic News. Okay. My question is that you have received many prestigious awards, and now you are receiving Satyajit Ray Award, Lifetime Achievement Award. So I'm more curious. It's more than a question. It's like I would like to know that when you came to know about this, that you are going to receive this, how did you break the news to your close circle, to your family, and what were the reactions?
Well, I mean, they're happy for me. They're very happy, and I just think it comes upon you one day. All of a sudden, it's a career life achievement, and you kind of blink. Then you think, well, you have been doing this for 55 years, so it's time. But for me, it's the joy of an American actor being here in India and having the familiarity of people. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. Please.
Okay.
Uh,
And just make, so they obviously were very, very proud. So are my friends, but I take particularly an enjoyment out of visiting, being in other, acknowledging that our films travel from so many countries.
Sir,
hi, sir.
sir,
I'm
this is
hi,
Please,
sir.
please.
Can we?
Sir, this is Dolce de Cruz. I'm from Herald. I have two questions, one for you and one for Catherine, ma'am. So, for you, you're the first actor from the Marvel universe who's come to Goa. How does it, feel when you see Endgame and you see a younger version of yourself in the film?
And Catherine, ma'am, you have given two wonderful, a series and two series actually, Morticia in Wednesday. So how did you do you select your scripts with your children now? How does it go?
Um, well, the aging thing kind of goes along with the question of AI because it's coming very fast. I mean, at that time, it's very weird. They put dots all over you, right? And if you look at yourself in the mirror, it's not a pretty picture. But you act, and then they do it, and it's a little scary, I must say. But that was so quickly followed by what's going on with AI now, and so we're actually fighting on a much different record. And all of a sudden you have to really protect your name and likeness into perpetuity. So we'll see. But the reason I did those films was I had never done a CGI movie before, and I wanted to see the experience because acting in CGI is very bizarre. You have to. There's nothing there, and you kind of just have to pretend. And it was a lovely experience, but once is enough.
This is
And
the last
finally-
question.
should I
Yeah.
answer
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
hang on,
She's,
please,
yeah,
please,
please, yeah.
yeah.
Catherine, yeah,
Yeah, well, when I had the call that Tim Burton, who I admired as a filmmaker forever, wanted to speak to me about a project, I answered the call and I said, "Hi, Tim. What do you want me to do and when do I start?" I didn't, apropos to what Michael was saying about the scripts. For me at that moment was like, whatever he's doing, I know I want to be part of. And it happened to be one of the most iconic kind of pop icon characters, Morticia Adams, in a show that was like, so part of our subconscious for many years, but focusing on Wednesday. And so that experience was amazing, and the success has been incredible. So we, in anticipate, we've just finished our actors strike, which we are very happy about for not just us, but for everybody who works in our industry, in our industry in the States. So it's delayed. We're going to be starting in the spring now, and I'm so excited about getting back into that world because his world is such an amazing world that he creates.
Yeah. Yours will be the last
yeah.
question. Yeah.
Hi,
Please.
sir. My name is Pandurang. I have a question for Michael, sir. Michael, sir, last few years, Indian film are growing day by day. Now, few days back, one of the Indian film named RRR, who is directed by S.S. Rajamouli, got his Oscar for his original music. How you look at this?
It's spectacular. It was spectacular. I mean, bravo! Won the Oscar for the music, but it was stunning, beautifully done, and deserves everything it gets. And I think it's wonderful for the film industry here to get the confidence. It was a big budget movie for any movie, for an Indian movie, and I think it gives you more confidence to try uh, uh, bigger films. But since we're just leaving right now, or since you're closing up,
yes.
let me just thank the IFFI so much. And Mr. Kamur, thank you so much for all the good work that you've been doing on this festival. Congratulations! It's a great job, and thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you.
I request everyone to remain seated. So thank you very much. We wouldn't have wanted this afternoon to end. We could have chatted with you for an hour more, but you have other commitments. So I thank all my friends in the media, and I thank Michael Douglas, Catherine,
And thank
and
you.
Shelley. Thank
Thank you.
And we thank you.